Welcome to the Blockchain Blueprint. I'm Yusuf Noor. I'm joined today by Jineshwar Kochar from Crowdfunding. Just to go into the company a little briefly before we begin, they were established in 2014 and they are a leading UK crowdfunding platform that raises funds for company through the issue of shares, equity, crowd bonds, and tokens, aka cryptocurrency, to its investors. So thank you for your time today, Jinu.
Thank you for having me.
So if you could just briefly tell us a bit about yourselves and the company Crowd for Angels.
Sure, definitely. So we are a regulated crowdfunding platform that's been in existence since 2014. Following the recent sort of developments in the blockchain space, we saw a massive opportunity in with this new disruptive technology and how we could sort of implement this within our existing platform. So just last year is when we started venturing into token sales or private token sales. So what we think is we should allow the crowd to sort of get access to invest in upcoming blockchain based projects. You can call it ICOs, STOs, token sales, whatever you call it. At the very early stages. Traditionally, what's been happening is private sales have been mostly sort of concentrated with venture capitalists, the big hedge funds, and private high net worth individuals. We wanted to enable these private sale allocations to be accessible to the crowd. So if you would like to invest in an ICO or in any of these blockchain based projects at the very early stages with a very small investment, our platform allows you to do so.
Okay. So with that in mind, can you tell us about what you can offer in terms of services? I've noticed just here we've got the likes of like crypto bonds, which is not quite ready yet, but there are other things such as crowdfunding available and so on. So just talk us through that.
Sure, definitely. We've always been in this space, more on the sort of traditional finance space involving shares and bonds. We feel that with the way the market is moving forward, we are very well poised to sort of leverage on the opportunity that is out there in terms of things getting more regulated. The scenario, as you're aware, there have been a lot of scams in this space. Personally, as an analyst myself, I've analyzed over 300 blockchain projects, read so many white papers, gone through so many of these sort of use cases. And to be honest, I'll be very frank with you. 95% or more importantly 98% of the stuff that I've seen doesn't make sense at all. There's no real need for blockchain. People just want to raise capital because it's one of the quick ways of raising capital with no applicable use case. What we want is sound projects, good quality projects that are out there, people who are really building something useful for the community, for that actually uses blockchain technology for what it should be used for. So some of the things I consider is blockchain really needed within a specific enterprise? Apart from that, there's tokenomics. What are the different sort of parameters that the founders have in place when it comes to sort of raising capital? How much are they looking to raise? What are the is it justified or not? I think the key objective of any of these projects is to build the technology, and as we speak, most of these projects are at the very early stages. You would just see alpha or beta stage platforms and not the actual product itself. So it is very hard to sort of put a number as to as to sort of have an intuition as to these things will succeed or not, and mapping that against how much these projects are looking to raise, which is like could be 50 million, 100 million, 20 million. These are big numbers and these are hard earned people's money. So we believe in dealing in first finding high quality projects to work with, while at the same time making sure that these projects get the best platform to manage the token sales.
Okay. You mentioned just now that 95% of people who approach you don't have the projects that make sense to you. So for those of us who are wondering if we have project and so on, is there a criteria that they need to have in order to obtain funding? What should people who are watching this be looking to do?
Oh yes, certainly. I mean, having said that, the market is tough right now. There is a scope of getting good funding from good investors if you follow the rules. Now, as we know, there are no real rules as such, but what I mean is people should really focus on how blockchain can be used within their existing enterprise or in order to build what they're trying to build, especially in terms of what value does it have for the community. Will I they need to answer questions like, do I really need blockchain or not? Can I do this without the blockchain? So that real value proposition lies in the where you have the added value on the added value on chain as in terms of what value it can bring to the people, to the users who plan to use their tokens, as well as to all their partners who they would be dealing with. So firstly, it would be the technology and its use case. Secondly, it would be the team. So I always look at projects that have really sort of successful people behind them, people who've had successful startups on the line, or people who have experience of running a business. Having said that, there is always room for someone who is totally new, totally starting a new project, but they need to be able to demonstrate personal commitment to the project. A lot of the times I've seen people raising 15 to 20 million dollars with no personal commitments of capital. So we feel as a crowdfunding platform that you should always have a personal commitment to your project, as well as have strategic partners who will enable you to grow your network. This is a new world we are entering into, a token ecosystem. So eventually what will drive your project's success is more number of users who can join your platform. So another useful sort of parameter to look at is, how do I get a lot of token holders for my token, because ultimately that will drive the success of the project. Besides this, I would say there should be a good team of developers, people who are running the code, or working on the front end, on the back end. At the end of the day, it's a competitive world out there. So I truly believe that the front end, from a user experience point of view, your application should be really appealing, should be really good, and should be very user friendly. People should be able to use it very easily, and people should be able to understand that blockchain is being used in your application. A lot of the people out there are not aware of how blockchain is being used. Perhaps having educational guidelines as to how the average Joe can adopt blockchain in his day-to-day life, I think that switch would be good as well, to have that approach, the educational approach of making people understand, making your token holders understand how the benefits of using your token, the benefits of the technology behind it as well.
Okay, so how do you help raise funds for startups via crowdfunding? Because I'm sure that's what a lot of people watching this will want to know.
Sure. So what we do is, we first have a due diligence process, a very strict due diligence process, in order to determine the projects that come on board. Once projects have met their criteria, we make a pitch on our platform. I'll quickly run you through the pitch. So this is the main website. Go to tokens, cryptocurrency. This is one of the companies that is raising capital on our platform. So what we would do is we would create a very crisp sort of offer information of what investors are getting offered. As you can see, this is the soft cap, this is the hard cap of the project, with the minimum and maximum funding target at the private sales stage. So that the different prices are mentioned, the number of tokens that are being offered are mentioned, along with the token supply. In comparison to the public sale price, the discounts are mentioned as well. So the investor, in a very sort of quick, I would say, investors could quickly view the offer information as to what exactly they are getting. What we also do is we make a pitch for the companies, which is a condensed version of the white paper. So imagine going through 35 to 40 pages of hardcore technical work, hardcore information. It's very difficult for people to sort of understand and sort of interpret the information and process the information in order to make an informed decision. We make it very easy for you. What we do is we prepare a very sort of condensed version of your entire project. And let's say this is a Pago, for instance. So what we would do is, let's say I would want to invest $100. So as you can see, if I invest $100, these are the number of tokens I would receive based on the current offering. So it's very user friendly for the average person to sort of understand what they are getting into, including the tokenomics of the project, what it has to offer, as well as what they are getting into. So this is like a sort of a pitch. Along with this, we have information on the team, the additional documents such as white paper or any business plans are available upon request. So if an investor would like to obtain more information, that is available as well. So this is what we do. We create a pitch once we have agreed upon a project's ability to succeed, and then we put it on our platform, on our regulated crowdfunding platform, available to the crowd to invest in these projects. So besides this, we also support projects in terms of making sure the tokens are distributed to the investors. We act as sort of escrows who manage the funds. We have a nominee account that manages the escrow of the funds until the soft cap is met. So for instance, if this project did not meet its soft cap of 2 million, it would have the funds would have returned to the investors, because we truly believe in giving projects what they really need, as opposed to raising X amount of capital. So this is something we are very we are very strict in terms of due diligence, in terms of quality, in terms of ensuring there's a proper compliant process is maintained as we raise funds. This is very important, especially in the current market scenario with the growing number of scams that are ongoing. If you look at stats, since 2017 until now, at least 48% of the projects have failed to deliver. So these are projects that have actually raised 15, 20, 50, in some cases even 200 million, and haven't been able to deliver with a proper product. So I think with the way regulation is following and chasing the market, we truly believe in a more just and sound manner to deal with token sales.
Yeah. So with the opportunities now available, thanks to crypto and blockchain, what do you think has opened up now that there's a whole new world that's about to unfold?
Oh yes, I think the opportunities are immense. Since we have witnessed the market in 2016, the market was very small. There were barely 50 to 70 projects raising capital, and now there are like that many projects every day. So in terms of growth, we see that the markets are flooded with a lot of projects that want to use blockchain technology. Big financial institutions have also ventured into it. JP Morgan, for instance, is using blockchain. IBM is using the Hyperledger Fabric to help with companies that are looking to sort of reduce their time lag and to reduce their costs and manage the supply chain processes more efficiently. So with big institutions coming into the market, we see that there is a plethora of opportunities available globally.
Okay. How do you think startup businesses especially, can benefit from using cryptocurrency and blockchain, either of the two?
So, in your day-to-day life, I would say a person can use blockchain or cryptocurrencies to make payments very easily. Imagine doing cross-border transactions. If you are in Nigeria and you would want to send money to, let's say, a place in New Zealand, normally there are a lot of intermediaries involved, and you would have to go through different processes, which can be very sort of cumbersome, and you would reduce your the final amount that will go to the other end. Let's say if you want to send $100, at the end of the day you would just be sending $90 because of the different costs involved, because of the intermediaries involved in the process. With blockchain, with cryptocurrencies, I see these sort of obstacles and hurdles to be will be overcome, and at the same time, instead of waiting for 5 or 6 days for your payment to sort of pass through to the end user, it can just be done in a matter of minutes or seconds. So on a daily sort of I would say application, from a daily user's perspective, one way blockchain or cryptocurrencies or crypto assets could be very useful is reducing the time in order to send payments, at the same time enabling them to save more money. So that same amount of money that you save using blockchain, using cryptocurrencies, can then be deployed into other more useful things of your life.
Do you have any advice for anyone watching this, if they were to approach you or looking to obtain funding? What would you say to them?
Oh yes, definitely. You can always make an application on our website. We check each and every application very thoroughly, and we do see if it would be a good fit for our platform or not. So we are open to all projects, especially focused in Europe because of regulation. We cannot be very open to American projects. We would love to, but if you're in the US, then I would say I wouldn't recommend using our platform. But if you're anywhere else, then we are always happy to have a look, and then we can take it from there.
Fantastic. And for you personally, why did you enter the blockchain and crypto space?
Oh yes, so my story dates back to 2016 when I was doing a master's in finance, and I wanted to get into investment banking. So it turned out that I was writing these equity research reports on a day-to-day basis, and I was writing these reports promising a very small amount of returns, 15 to 20% over, let's say, 1.5 to 2 years period of time. And at the same time, I had notifications popping up on my phone. Bitcoin rises by 25% today, or Ethereum falls by 30% today. And I sat there and I wondered, what is happening? Is this really the future? The answer was very clear. So for me, what drove me into blockchain and cryptocurrencies was the sort of multiplicity of returns that was associated with the industry. I got into Bitcoin. I bought my first Bitcoin and Ethereum back in 2016, and I sort of rode the up wave that we saw last year. So I was kind of lucky in that aspect. But having said that, once I started learning once I started getting more deeply attached with cryptocurrencies and blockchain, I realized this is a phenomenal world. There are so many different applications. The potential of blockchain is phenomenal. It can be used across different industries, across different activities, daily activities that we do. Even now, as we speak, we are still at the very early stages of this technology. It's like the internet back in 2001, or back in the 1990s, where people were very skeptical, but people knew something was coming. I think what internet was for communication, blockchain will be for businesses in the future. So personally, I am very bullish on the technology, as well as the scope that it has for the global economy.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add that we might not have touched on?
Oh yes, I would just like to say that we ultimately we need to make sure that there are more and more merchants, more and more users of blockchain on a daily basis. That is what will drive, and that is what will be responsible for its success. So we have a lot of projects that are using blockchain, that want to build something on blockchain, but I think people should also realize the importance of building products, of building machines, of building systems that can be used by every pedestrian on the road. When that happens, we know this is for real and this is happening. I'm convinced this is happening already, but having said that, we are still a few years away from mainstream adoption taking place within this sector.
Okay. And one final question. As a crypto analyst yourself, where do you see the prices of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies going?
That's an interesting one. It's very hard to predict what the prices of these things would be in the future. But if you look at the markets very closely, in the past 6 months, I would say markets have cooled down and stabilized. So the volatility that we saw in the prices of Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of the top 5 cryptocurrencies have not fluctuated as much in comparison to what they were a couple of years ago. That is a very good sign for the industry, I feel, because if there's too much volatility, there will be too many losses involved. So I do feel, I'm not an expert. I don't think anyone can predict what the future price of these things would be. But having said that, I do feel that it's all a growing economy. So I wouldn't put a number to the price of these things, but I do feel that they won't move as much as they did in the past. Like 5 years ago, Bitcoin was just about $5 or $10, and now it's $6,000. So the sort of multiplicity of returns that the average person saw in the past few years, I do feel that is impossible in the next coming years. It will be more sort of stabilized, more sort of reserved, and it'll slowly pick up over time.
Well, thank you today. And where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Definitely, I'm available on the website, crowdforangels.com. Let me quickly show you. So people could just go to the platform, and there I am. I'm available on Telegram, LinkedIn, email. So you can drop me a message on Jinu, which is JINU, at Crowd for Angels if you have any questions. And I'm you can spot me at most crypto events. I'm very active in the London crypto scene. I've been going for events since the past 2.5 years, so I'm sort of a familiar face in the industry, so I'm easy to spot, easy to find, and always available on LinkedIn, Telegram, as well as my email.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It was very, very knowledgeable, and I'm sure it's going to be immensely beneficial for our viewers.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
So, if is there anything else you'd also like to add?
Sure. I mean, I think now is the time to sort of uh, now is the time for many startups to think about how blockchain can be applicable within different industries, and how different industries such as real estate, music, finance, banking can also benefit from the use of this technology. For instance, in real estate, you can manage property rights as well as trading of these real estate assets using blockchain technology. With the advent of security tokens that we have today, you can get access to fractional ownership of obtaining valuable assets. Imagine fine art, for instance, a very crisp, a very beautiful, expensive painting that you saw, and you wished you could buy it. Now, the power of blockchain is so phenomenal that you can actually purchase a fraction of a particular pixel on a painting, and own that fraction of that painting. So that is beautiful, I think, because uh, allowing assets, real assets, to be tokenized is one of the main, I would say, fortes of blockchain, and the use cases keep growing as we move forward. There are new things happening every day. If you look at the music industry, for instance, I mean, just generally speaking, earlier you had different companies that would strip off musicians' profits, what they deserve to get in order for creating really good music. Using blockchain technology, musicians can manage their own copyrights, their own royalties, and in order to allow them to get maximum for the quality music that they produced. It is happening already. Spotify is looking into it. A lot of companies are looking into it, but I do feel blockchain is all about giving power to the people. So another sort of key parameter for people looking or venturing into this space is to look at how can you maximize the value for the community, for the people using this technology. It is all about the user at the end of the day, and blockchain will enable people to do so.
Fantastic. Once again, thank you so much.